Hey people, what's up? What's going on? It's your Friday guy Cole, and today's topic is what not to ask a trans person. Now I'm kind of going to tie this in with what not to ask a trans person and what not to do to a trans person, because there's a few experiences that I've had over the past month or so that I need to share with you guys, and just so that everybody's clear that that's not okay. Alright, so first one I have is that I'm going to do like a little kind of story time for you guys. Before I start though, I do just want to say there will potentially be swearing in this video, so if you are offended by that or you are sensitive to that, please click off now, because I can't guarantee that that will all be clean. So around a month ago, I was in a club. I was a little bit tipsy, all was good. I go outside with my friends and I see this girl over there. I'm not attracted to her, just go over to her, see, because she looks really happy. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? You know, when you're drunk, you want to make friends, right? So I'm like, how's it going? You know, you look like you're having a good night, what's going on? And so we're there talking and stuff, and it's all good. And I mentioned that I'm trans. The first thing she comes out with is, oh, what's your real name? And I'm like, well, what do you mean my real name? My real name is Cole. She's like, no, your real name. And I'm thinking, hey, hang on, the way that you're wording this is basically saying your transition is completely, you know, invalid because you're not really Cole, you're not really male, you're pretending to be male, so what's your real name, what's your real identity? No? Like, so I'm like, well, my real name is Cole, it's legally Cole, and she's like, no, your real name. And she keeps on going on like this for, I swear to you, about 10 minutes straight. She won't leave it alone. I'm saying to her, why do you need to know? What's it to you? I'm not telling you. You're never gonna know. Just drop it. She's not having it. And, you know, I'm tipsy. I'm quite laid back when it comes to, you know, like questions about my transition and stuff, which I'll explain later on. But what's your real name is so disrespectful in so many ways that I was just taken back and thinking, hang on, you wouldn't know my name even if we knew each other for 10 years because of how you approach this. To me, as I say, somebody saying what's your real name is completely invalidating their entire transition, because you're saying, well, yeah, you're fake, so what's your real name? They're also digging into your past, which is completely irrelevant because I'm right here and right now, I'm not my past self, so I am Cole, nice to meet you, that's all you need to know, surely? There's many reasons, but that just wasn't a good start. But you know, as I say, I'm tipsy, I'm okay, like, I'm not gonna react to that because I'm just having a good night. So I'm there trying to talk to a friend because I've got bored of this incessant what's your real name bullshit. Sorry, language, told you. And I'm having a nice conversation with this guy. He's actually a really nice guy. He's apologising for her. He's saying, you know, I'm sorry, she's really drunk and she's not having it. She's like, oh no, I'm not trying to be rude, just want to know what's your real name, and just, yeah, as I say, not having it. After he sort of like goes off and speaks to other people, I'm thinking, okay, she's dropped it now. Let me give this girl another chance because, you know, she seemed like a nice person when I walked up. She was smiling, she was happy, it's all good. Next thing she comes out with is, have you got a Willy? I'm like, for fuck's sake, here we go, okay. Right, so I'm pretty open when it comes to, as I say, answering questions like that. It depends on the situation, the person, the scenario, everything like that, if I'm sober. But as I say, because I had a few drinks, I was just like, well, you know, no, not as of yet, no. And then, I swear to God, guys, she then felt that it was okay to take it upon herself to check for herself, and she then proceeded to jab me in my groin. I swear to you, she jabbed my groin out of nowhere. I'd known this girl for 10 minutes, and she was like, have you not got a Willy? And just went straight in. And I felt that shit through my packet. Like, this was no gentle, you know, patting to check. This was a full-on jab. And, you know, to violate somebody's privacy like that, cis, trans, whatever, you don't do that to someone you've known for 10 minutes. You don't do that to someone you've known for 5 years, let alone 10 minutes. Come on. Like, the stupidity and ignorance of this girl was just another level. Again, it was just, yeah, just completely out of this world. And at that point, you know when you're drunk and your emotions kind of, like, you feel your emotions, but they don't bubble up so much, they're kind of hazy. That was kind of what it was, which I'm actually really thankful for, because I felt like a big anger surge up in me and offence and being like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Like, you don't know me from Jack, why are you bringing your hands anywhere near that part of me, especially considering I've just told you that I'm transgender. You know, I'd expect you to respect that, and you know, just if you want to know questions, if you want to ask questions and be, yeah, and you're curious about it, by all means. But don't feel like you can suddenly invade my privacy and put your hand by my genitals. For what? I've already answered your question. Why do you need to check for yourself? Why do you think that's an okay thing to do? So that was all going through my head. But because, as I say, I wasn't sober, I was just like, you know, I just said to her, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get off. It was a very sort of measured reaction, I'd say, and one of the reasons for that as well was because I've learnt that, you know, obviously it's not socially acceptable to shout at a female if you are defining and obviously presenting as male, because another reason is obviously, you know, to passers-by, to other people, it could look like if I'd flipped like I felt like I could inside, I could have seemed like I was a boyfriend shouting at my girlfriend, and they're thinking, oh god, is he going to get violent? You know, there's many different things that come into that, and so for me to keep my cool in that, I'm really glad that I did. At the same time, I wish that I'd spoken up a little more, but because of the situation that we were in, you know, everybody was drunk, I just didn't want to get myself in trouble. It would all be coming down on me if I reacted to it. And so I stepped off, I left, but I just needed to share that with you guys, just in case anybody, for whatever reason, thinks that that's an okay thing to do. One, don't ask what's your real name. Just don't do that. Just don't. That's not the question. Yeah, once again, I'm here, I'm right now. This is me. Why do you need to know about my past? That's like me going up to somebody, you know, that I've never met before and saying, oh, you know, something in your childhood that you went through that's like really hard for you to deal with, that you struggled through and you're only just sort of getting over it. Can you tell me about it in detail? Because to quite a few trans guys, that's what their childhood could have been. You know, it's you struggling with your gender, it's you trying to work yourself out. So why would I tell you quite a big piece of information about that? Because that name is the person that I used to be. So why would I share that with you? You know, it doesn't matter. I'm Cole. That's all you need to know. But yeah, so just don't ask that. And second, do not put your hand anywhere near a trans guy's junk. Just don't do it unless they've given you specific permission to do so. Do not do that. I hope that you all know that already, but if you don't, now you know. So that's one story time. I'm sure she's a nice girl, but she was just really drunk and completely ignorant as fuck. So, you know, what can you do? Where'd you go from there? So that happened. Now the second thing, which is a shorter story time, is another thing that you should not do to a trans guy, which is out them without their permission. I was at a house party with two friends I knew, and the rest of them I'd never met in my life. Quite a few of them were from Jamaican background, and I'm not being stereotypical when I say this, but quite a lot of Jamaicans, they don't abide well with anything LGBTQ, etc. So, you know, I'm planning on keeping it, you know, not stuff. If somebody asks me something related to gender or whatever, then I will say, but I'm not going to go out and say, hi, I'm Carl, I'm transgender. You know, I'm not going to do that, because for all I know, I could walk out the party, and because they disagree with it so much, they could then jump me. Who knows? So, as I say, going back to the story, one of them went to get a drink, and I heard them saying, one of the guys saying, is that a boy or a girl? And I couldn't really hear my friends reply, but all I heard was trans, da-da-da. You know, I just heard something, and that resulted in every single one of them misgendering me and then correcting themselves for the rest of the night. Now, if that friend had just said, he's a boy, that's it, then there wouldn't have been any, you know, there would have been no issues. And luckily, none of them were against it, which was lucky for me, because, as I say, I could have been jumped. Just is not a good thing to do. If you have the permission, then do so, but especially the fact, if I haven't met those people before, they don't know me from Jack, so they will see me then as the transgender one. They won't see me as Cole, 22, Scorpio, laid-back person. They'll just see me as this one part of my identity, this one part of me that is, you know, a grain in the sand compared to the rest of my personality. You know, yes, it is a big thing at the same time, of course, but there's a lot more to me than just being transgender. And because they now know that, that's all I am to them. And so for somebody to feel that it's okay to do that, once again, it's disrespectful, and you can't just assume that that's an okay thing to do. So, another thing, don't out trans guys or trans any individuals without their permission, especially if they're stealth. Jesus. So those are the 2 story times for you. Now, when it comes to questions, just standard what not to ask a trans guy. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, I'm actually a very open book when it comes to questions, especially if I've known you for a while. Like if you're a friend that I've known for quite a long time, I want to help you understand, and I want to help you, be aware of what it is to be trans, and just any curiosity that you have. I'm comfortable enough usually to answer whatever that is. Now, if it's somebody that I've just met, if the person is clearly just, digging and just finding out to be able to then talk about you behind your back, then, you just get that vibe off of that person, so whatever, you just won't answer. But if it's somebody that's genuinely interested and just wants to understand and empathize, or, whatever, then that's fine, and I'll answer questions. So, for example, have you grown a penis, or do you have a penis? I'll really say, well, unfortunately, that doesn't happen when you take testosterone, etc., etc. That's fine. Once again, provided I'm in the right situation. My birth name, I'm not one to answer that. That's probably one of the only few. There's a few that I won't answer. Another one is, what do you do in the bedroom? How do you have sex? I won't answer that, just because, it's irrelevant unless you're looking to have sex with me yourself. Why does it matter to you? Is it going to help you sleep at night? Is it going to improve your quality of life? If you know how I have sex, no? Cool, then doesn't matter to you, and it never will. And you'll never know, so it's fine. Another question that I don't actually mind answering is, what bathroom do you use? I'll just say, I use a male bathroom because I'm a male. That's it, whatever. So that's no issue to me. So most questions I will answer, as I say, and the reason for that is because if somebody's coming across as genuinely interested, I'd rather spread awareness, I'd rather spread understanding, and at the end say to them, just to let you know though, I'm a particularly open book, but if you ask another trans person this, they may be offended, so, it's best not to, or, teach them the correct terminology. I'd rather settle their curiosity there and then, rather than them go to another trans person and set off their dysphoria or make them feel, a certain way. I'd rather just answer it all there, and then they have no further questions to ask and potentially offend other trans people. That's just how I work. I don't know. The last thing that I dislike being asked, once again, in a club scenario. So I'm in a club and someone comes up to me, for example, and says, are you straight, are you gay, etc. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm heterosexual. And they say, why are you here? I'm like, I'm transgender, so yeah. And they're like, yeah, but why are you here? You're straight. I'm like, hang on a minute, just think about what you just said. This is an LGBT club, so I have just as much right to be here as everybody else does. So why do you feel like it's okay to then try and alienate me from my community just because I define as heterosexual? Why is that okay for you? Yeah, don't ask that. Don't ask why they're in a gay club. Yes, it's called a gay club, but it's still for LGBT people plus their allies. So, what's the issue? It's not really sort of transition related, I guess, but I've had that question a lot, especially when I go clubbing, because a lot of the friends I go clubbing with are gay, so they prefer to go to gay clubs. And so, being the only heterosexual one there now, yeah, that question is asked a lot. I haven't actually been asked how you have sex as of yet, luckily. Majority of people that I have come across have been quite respectful with their questions, and have sort of been like, I don't want to offend you, but can I ask this? And I'll just explain to them, I'm okay with answering that, but just heads up, be aware that may trigger someone's dysphoria, that may, etc., whatever. Any questions anybody has, give me a shout. I will see you guys next week, and make sure you check out all the other guys and subscribe, share, etc. Like the video. Peace.